We're going to call the town board meeting for August 17th to order. First item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Patrick, except for supplements not mentioned.
I don't know what's going on with our distribution, but I hope you have a supplement upon which to look that will be going under the public hearing for a special 3-dog license. Other than that, no changes or amendments to the agenda, Mr. Chair.
All right, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Item number 3 is motion to approve payment of the bills.
I'll move payment of the bills.
Second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. Item number 4 is approval of the minutes of August 3rd. Anybody have any gripes? I mean, technical errors?
I saw none, move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? All right, item number 5 is consent agenda. Board feel comfortable with these? Only 2, wow, that's,
Pretty light.
Yep, very
you
light.
should probably read them, Scott.
I move to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? That motion carries. All right, moving on, 6A, old business. This is the emergency management team report.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, Board, not a whole lot to hit on with that from our team. We had an extensive conversation here at the EDA board meeting regarding care funding in response to the COVID-19 issue. And I don't think there's been anything from the attorney's perspective as to interpreting governor mandates or whatever along those lines.
There's nothing new.
So I would say that we can move along unless you've got any questions for us.
Board,
No, I have,
comments, questions?
Nope.
Thank you.
All right, well, this, the issue of the new air exchanger under this, and you want to talk about that under operational logistics, or you just?
I just got that as kind of a general, it might be, as I mentioned before, more appropriate to have a discussion on that at our executive committee at the end of the month. I would defer that to the judgment of the board, but I think we'd have a little bit more information at that time too.
Maybe we could tour the mechanical room.
There you go. See the 3 boilers? 3 boilers back there.
There are?
Yeah,
3 furnaces.
I'm sorry,
To
furnaces.
see, because I thought it was forced air.
Furnaces.
Well, we're not going to have you.
So when did we get rid of the wood stove? Oh, back when the
Oh, no.
old town all burned
Can we
down.
push rewind, please?
Okay,
Just-
sorry, we digressed.
There are 3 furnaces in the building that are 25 years old. So, sorry.
All right, to be continued.
Thank you.
Moving on. Item number 7 is a public hearing for a special 3-dog license. I need a motion to waive the reading.
I'll move to waive the reading, and it was properly published.
Second?
Second that.
Motion made and second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? That motion carries. I need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, Patrick, are you going to overview this one?
So, for the board's consideration, what you have in particular I would like for you to pay attention to is a supplemental memo given to you by Ramsey County Animal Control stating that they had no objections to the application for this 3-dog license. You do also have, however, within your packet, 2 neighbors that are vociferously against granting this permit. I would like to hear discussion from your all perspective, if there are any caveats that you'd like to attach to the permit, or if you'd just like to deny it or grant it as is.
Well, I'll start off. How did this come to our attention? I mean, what prompted these people to come for this 3-dog license to start with?
I think
Because it appears they've had the dogs for a while.
Yeah,
So, do you know what the history here is? How did we get this?
I think it had to do with rabies shots, getting the rabies shots.
Okay. And they're not new, I guess the second question, they're not They don't appear to be new residents of the township.
'09 is what I saw on the.
Yes.
Been there a while.
So, this is not a new ordinance.
No,
I was curious if it came because of the complaints, or,
no.
Some other reason.
Due diligence through other processes and requirements in order to have a dog license within the township. This is how it came about.
Is Mario aware of these complaints?
Uh-huh.
Has he been out when those complaints came in? Did he actually go there?
Not everyone, no, I don't think so.
well, Patty indicated that she didn't want him going there because of COVID. So I was surprised that,
There have been other complaints in the past before COVID.
yeah.
Scott, you're a wizard. Can you punch that address up, see if there's a privacy fence around it?
Sure.
I'm curious if the dogs are constantly barking, sometimes with a cyclone, they see everybody who walks by, which is a lot of people right now,
Uh-huh.
dogs, walkers, all that, and this is right down from the dog park. Are they just barking at the dogs they're hearing barking? So maybe even a privacy fence wouldn't even help the situation, but
Well,
I don't know. When you have an application come in and you've got more than one complaint about barking dogs, I kind of take this one a little serious.
I would like to add to that, I mean, I've had a dog for a number of years, and I'm very conscientious personally about when he's barking in the backyard, because I don't want the neighbors to worry about it. I think if somebody's taking the time and effort to write a memo, I mean, they're pushed a little far. Most people won't do that. Most people say, yeah, I'll deal with it.
Or I'll go talk to the neighbor, try to.
Oh, yeah, theoretically, I'll go talk to the neighbor. But I think for people to spend time and effort to write a memo is kind of it's saying a lot. Most people wouldn't do that.
Sure.
So this is it.
yeah, I think it's almost inhumane to have, if it is true that the dogs were outside from that many hours and there was no one home,
Well, they got screening on one side,
I question
screening in the back.
why.
I don't know, seeing as how the applicants aren't here to defend themselves with these complaints, I mean, we can pull the board, but I don't feel comfortable
There's
passing.
someone coming in right now, if you can see him, so. Nope, that's. I don't know who they are.
Hi, what are you here for?
For the meeting,
Yep.
No, but I mean, what agenda?
What part?
for the dog license.
Ah,
Okay,
there
we're
you go.
just talking about it,
Yep.
so. Are you the owner? Sorry,
I am.
okay.
well, I'll ask my question.
Well, hang on a minute, we're still, I haven't got it open for public comment yet, but any other concerns before I open it up for?
No, I think I already said what I thought.
All right, I need a motion to open up for the public portion.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we're talking about your situation and your application. There's quite a bit of concern because you've got, what, 3 neighbors now that have written us letters concerned about the barking? Have you seen these?
Yeah, and I did.
Why don't you come up to the podium, please?
And introduce yourself if you would.
Just give your name and address.
So my name, Maribel Alfaro. I'm the owner at 5795 Outer Lake Road.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm requesting the license for the 3 dogs.
Okay, and you're aware of the 3 complaints that we've received?
3?
3 memos.
There were 2 that were negative and 1 that was neutral.
Is that what the one that was in there?
we do not oppose the application, but only request the owners be sensitive to any barking.
All right, so-
And just to let you know what I did, so the animal control came to my house, we talked, and he told me about the ordinance, I read it through, and I got 2 devices, the barking control devices.
Yeah, the collars that you put on them?
No, I got one that is like a device that you can use outside, and it works for several dogs at the same time.
Okay.
for multiple dogs. So I tested that for a few days. It didn't work, so I got another one. The second one worked and really took care of the issue. But after 2 or 3 days, one of the dogs was still barking. So I got for her specifically one of the
It's a collar, it's a bark
the
collar.
collars, exactly. And that really fixed the issue. So animal control came again, Friday, I think it was, and he witnessed that. There's no barking at all. So it was completely fixed with that.
All right, is your whole yard fenced in?
We added a few area that is fenced, and that's where the dogs are now.
Is that a cyclone fence?
Hmm?
Is that a cyclone mesh fence? Can they see through it?
Yes.
Is the reason they're barking, are they barking at people walking down the street? Are they barking at other dogs? Or are they just barking because they're dogs?
Well, the issue is that I have 2 Chihuahuas, and you know, the Chihuahuas, they are known for barking a lot.
Yep.
But they were kept inside all the time, so I never had that issue until we built that little fence outside, and we kept them there for a few hours a day. They started barking. I didn't realize that they were barking because I cannot hear them from inside. So I'm guessing that this neighbor stays outside for a long time, and he can hear them barking.
All right, so again, you have it's called a cyclone fence. It's a wire mesh fence, but they can see through it?
Yeah, it's.
Okay.
They can see.
Where I'm going with this is sometimes you can put slats in that fence, they're little strips, that will make that more of a privacy fence, so they can't see past the fence, so they're not barking at people walking by. We've had a few residents, we've had to ask them to do that, so their dogs would stop barking.
Well, that's why I got these devices to control the barking, and it really worked.
When did you get those, by the way?
So when I got the first visit from animal control, he told me about the issue. I didn't know that it was such a big problem. So I started paying attention, going outside and see what the issue was. And I did some research. So I found online several devices that you can use to control barking. And I started testing them just like 2 days after he told me about that. I got the first device. I tested it for 2 or 3 days. It didn't work. I got another one and tested the second one. But the officer came Friday. It was the same officer that came the first time. The first time he was outside, he parked the car and they started barking. Because as soon as they see some movement around the property, they start barking. This time, he parked, he approached the fenced area, stood right there, and they didn't bark. He was really surprised.
That's Officer Lee, Mario Lee?
Mario?
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. Well, you understand where the board's coming from. We hate to see a license granted, and we have neighbors coming to us saying, why did you give that license? Because these dogs bark, and that's a nuisance, so.
I know, and that's why I took care of it right away.
Okay, and like I said, if it doesn't help or if it doesn't work, that's still an option for you. If they can't see out through the fence, then they don't bark at something moving either, so. But, any other questions of the board, Scott?
You had mentioned that at one point the dogs were inside more, now you've kept them outside. In the future, I'm guessing like as it gets cold, you're gonna bring them back inside for most
Oh,
of the
yeah.
day?
No, we built that just for the summertime, just so they can stay a few hours during the day outside.
Your neighbor is indicating that they're out for 5 hours at a time?
Could be,
4 to 5?
normally from 10 to 3, 10 to 5, or noon to 5.
You know what? Okay. I guess the other question along that line is, you've lived there for how long? How long have you lived in this house?
10 years.
10 years. And this is not a new ordinance. How long have you had the 3 dogs?
Oh, not long ago, but I didn't know about having a special license for 3 dogs.
How long is not too long?
Well, I knew about it when Officer Mario told me.
I mean, how long have you had 3 dogs versus?
Oh, the three
two
dogs for 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah, because the youngest
But
one
they've
is,
been inside all the time.
yeah, the youngest one is 3 years old.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, with what we've seen and with Mario Lee's suggestion, I guess I would feel comfortable giving you the license on one condition, that we would review this in 90 days,
Yes,
and if we have any barking complaints,
absolutely.
you either have to try something different, or we have to revoke the license. Now, you understand what that means, if we
I
revoke
know.
the license?
I know, that's why I took care of
Okay.
it right away. And I'm here because I want to talk about it and show that I care, that I did whatever I was told to do right away.
Is that acceptable
So-
with the board?
I think that's a perfect idea, yeah.
Yes,
And I would just also ask if you could just be, check on them periodically.
Oh, I am.
I know they're your dogs,
Mm-hmm.
but if they're out there for extended periods of time, just go out and see, are they barking?
Mm-hmm.
But if they're not, that's great.
No, like I said, I tried a couple different devices. Then I saw that there was still one of the dogs barking. So I got the special color right just for her. And it really took care of the
Okay.
additional issue. So and Mario was able to see that, he witnessed that it really took care of that.
And this is something we've done before for suspicious, noisy dogs. We just like to check up, because normally the dog license runs 2 years?
2 years.
5 years now.
Or what is it, 5?
5, yeah.
Oh,
Dog
we did-
licenses too,
The special is 5.
yeah.
But we just want to make sure that you're doing what you say you're doing, and the neighbors are comfortable with what you're doing, so.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, just so you know, according to the memorandum here, the license won't expire till March 31 of 2026.
Oh, wow.
Wasn't happy.
That's the wrong date.
That's what the memorandum says.
Not only that, yeah.
Do we need to double check that?
Yeah, because wouldn't it be 05?
Yeah,
Yep,
it's 1 year too long.
could be.
All right, wait, we may have to have that corrected. Is that from Mario, or is that from the,
No, it's,
that's on the
That's from
supplement?
our office, that should be 25. I think if the board wants to make that adjustment here, they can.
you should, yeah.
It's on page 33.
Yeah. And the one right above that, the other requirement is that the Mario visit this in 6 months, but we're talking, are we asking him to look at them in 90 days, or are we gonna let him look at them?
I think we should have him check in 90 days.
He'll do it.
Yeah, then we should change number 5 at the same time so that it reflects 3 months versus 6 months.
Yep.
Okay, every 3, all right.
All right, anything else?
And change the date to 25.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, thank you. We appreciate what you're going through to try to get this resolved. We really do. I'm a big dog guy, so
Yeah.
and I understand you're just down from the dog park, so trust me, you hear a lot of barking down there.
Yeah, a lot of dogs walking by too.
Yep, well, that's just the nature of the
Exactly.
environment now,
Yeah,
so.
and these little chihuahuas, they're known by being very noisy.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, do I have a motion to, well, anyone else want to speak to this? I need a motion to close the public portion of the hearing.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? All right, any further discussion? Otherwise, I look for a motion with the added changes.
I'll move to approve the special 3-dog license, subject to the changes that we added for items under consideration number 5 and number 6.
I will second that motion with those amendments.
All right, motion's made and second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. You're on your way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
so much.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Good night.
Mr. Chair, it doesn't relate to this, but it relates to the staff. Will someone acknowledge to those neighbors what we did tonight?
Sure. Good idea.
Because they deserve a response. They said reject it, but I think we put caveats in there to review it again so that they know we took some direction.
Yep, we will respond.
Really good idea.
Yep.
All right, moving on. Item 7B, this is another public hearing. This is for property tax abatements. Again, I need a motion to waive the reading.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And then I need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Tom, are you going to start us off?
Yeah, I'll
with this?
start it. This is the first time the township has ever issued tax abatement bonds. The idea is that certain properties, the taxes, instead of going into the general operating budget, would go to pay off the debt for the bonds. The bonds will fund 2 restrooms at Polar Lakes Park, and with any funds that are left over, help with the rehab of the playground equipment at Polar Lakes Park. Doug Green from Baker Tilly is here to help explain the process and how the bonds all work and all that good stuff.
How are you, Tom?
Good.
Yeah, this is all new for us, Doug, so you're going to have to
Yes, hold our
yeah,
hand.
give us the real, like,
This is really not
first
as
grade
complicated as
diversion.
it sounds. Again, Doug Green, Baker Tilly. I'm here on behalf of my colleague Paul Steinman, who I believe is cycling on Pacific Coast Highway somewhere, or something like that. So this is really, and state statutes give municipalities, cities, counties, towns, school districts, and taxing authority the ability to issue bonds. And there's dozens of different authorities out there to allow municipalities to issue bonds for different reasons. And each one of those has a different process and maybe some different rules. And so I probably the town is accustomed to issuing general obligation improvement bonds.
Yes.
This is very simply just general obligation abatement bonds, and they're called that because that's what they're called in statute. And so what this is the equivalent of the improvement hearing that allows the town to then issue general obligation bonds. This is that process that's laid out in statute. It is a little bit goofy. We have to forget what Webster Dictionary says about abatement.
I looked it up, and you know what it says? The act of issuing an abatement. The act of abating something. You're absolutely right.
Right, it makes it, this is nothing more than an administrative step to follow the process that's outlined in statute. So in theory, what we are doing is we are taking properties that quote-unquote benefit from this project, and this is not a straight benefit test like we have with 429 improvements, where it's an actual, you hire an assessor and say, yeah, they're benefiting, $1,000 increase to their property value. This is a subjective benefit. And so these properties are benefiting from these improvements up at because they're near the park. And so they're redirecting those taxes to pay for the debt service of the bonds. What the statutes say then is that because now that their taxes, they're going out of the general levy, they're going into a new debt service levy, we have to increase the taxes proportionally. So at the end of the day, this is just a debt service levy by a different name.
How are these properties selected?
So we have a amortization schedule, correct, for these properties. We chose some residential properties near the park. It's random. So if we were to do I do this all the time, industrial park, a street in an industrial park, and we didn't abate that actual property, we chose another property to do like a hotel. Well, it's going to draw business into there, and so, I'll just abate one property, theoretically redirect that hotels, the city's portion of the hotel taxes, city's portion of the property taxes to that project. And so simply chose a cluster of homes.
Okay.
Now, you'll see that their PID numbers are in this hearing. They don't get notification. Nothing changes in the way that they do property taxes. This is truly a administrative step.
So every one of these PIN numbers added up is 1,020,000?
They added up to, the city portion of their property taxes equaled the annual principal payment on those abatement bonds. So, let's go to the there's Peterson Road, which we're doing later, 2020 street
I
improvement.
think it's
Otter
page
Ridge,
45.
utility portion, and then last one. So the principal payments over that 15-year period ranges from 60 to 75,000. The attorneys, bond counsels allow us to do like an average, so each one of those is probably the average. My guess is that the city portion of those people's property taxes equals $70,000 a year. It's pretty goofy.
Well, Tom, is there a reason we've never done this before?
Mainly because we haven't had this type of improvement before.
The amount of improvement or the type?
Well, the type. We haven't done bonds to do improvements to a park since we built Polar Lakes Park. And at that time, we rushed that through literally because the law was changing and we were going to use a lot of tax increment funds from different tax increment districts. And so we used general obligation bonds at that point, but we were using tax increment money to pay it back. And we had to get it done quickly because the law was changing where you couldn't use tax increments for those type of things. And since then, we really haven't done any park bonds or improvements to the parks with bonds.
So the only other time we would ever use this is if we're doing some major improvement at a park?
Park or possibly a building, if we were gonna, I don't know, build a new,
Public services?
yeah, whatever. If we were gonna do some type of an addition onto the administration building and we wanted to issue bonds, we could do abatement bonds rather than have a referendum and have the voters approve it.
Be like the amphitheater that we had talked about once upon a time?
We could.
So, like I said, in state statutes, there's different authorities for, and sometimes there's overlap. You can have, as Tom mentioned, if you're doing a public, any kind of public safety bill or a new town hall or something, there is a different process called general obligation capital improvement plan bonds. But you could use this other, you could use multiple authorities, well, 2 or 3 different authorities to do that, to finance that purpose. Same thing with streets. It's just the fact that over, 80, 100 years since they've been, the authorities to incur debt obligations in state statutes just get added incrementally, and so you get kind of a hodgepodge and you get some overlap. And that's
I'm surprised we
what
didn't
we're doing
use this on the town hall, the old town hall. That'd have been a good spot for it, I would have thought, but. All right, Scott, you got any more questions?
They're all general, they all get the same interest rate. The bondholders just care about the general obligation and the city's credit rating.
And what is
They don't
that?
care about that improvement name or abatement name or what comes after that.
What is the interest rate right now?
So, I don't know if the pre-sale summary's in their packet?
I don't
Or
think
not.
it is.
I didn't see it.
Okay, so,
No, it's not.
right, we're looking at, interest rates are incredibly low. As you know, we're looking at, right now, we have, 4 different purposes, range for 10-year paybacks to 15-year. So we're talking about in 2022, February 2022, so what's that? That's about a 16-month of maturity or something like that. We have 0.45 now, and it goes up on a scale. Each year is a different maturity, holds a different coupon rate, up to the 2036 maturity, or I should say the 2037 maturity is 1.6. So if you have to take basically a weighted average of all those 1 through 15.
Well, that's
And
less
we're
than
looking
what-
at,
So-
that true interest cost is, we're looking at 1.38. Realistically, if you sold that today, it would be 1. I sold City of Blue Earth earlier today, 15 years for 1.09, and they're A plus, so two notches below the town.
So at what point would we be paid to borrow the money?
Can we hold out a little bit longer?
When the Fed says that, well, at least on the short end, right?
So how does this compare to, we bonded last year, the rate?
It's very similar. This is a little bit lower right now. But we're going out, last year's was 10 years, and because of a certain road that's gravel, we're going out 15 years on just that portion of it. So we're paying a little bit more for those extra 5 years. I mean, people are lending us money for 5 more years, but it's very similar to what we had last year.
And all the other parts of the bond that are for the southeast section would be 10?
They're 10.
Okay.
But everything is 10 years except Peterson Road and the park.
In the park.
So other than the word abatement on the title of this, it's pretty much like last year?
Yes.
And that's just for the park portion. On the official statement, it'll say general obligation bonds. But there's, for state statute purposes, there's, three. Improvement for the street projects, utility, revenue portion, and then the abatement portion. But again, bondholders don't care about that.
All right, Steve, you got anything else?
No? Nope.
All right, thanks, Doug. It made it perfectly clear.
Well, I think he did a better job than anybody could.
So that probably covers a lot of, if I can stick around, but that probably covers a lot that we'll talk about when we authorize the bond sale later in the.
That's the next item.
So stay tuned.
All right, I guess I need a motion now to open it up for public comment.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Is there anyone here that would like to speak to this?
Well, speaking as a resident, I found that a very informative presentation.
And something that might come back down the road, it sounds like, too.
A good point of what you brought up.
All right,
The stage.
Oh, yeah, that's,
which is, we've been struggling for funding on that.
We have.
because it's- And that, I could see all kinds of properties being set up for that one, because everybody would benefit from that. All right, hearing no public comment, motion to close that portion of the hearing.
I'll move to close the public portion of the hearing.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? All right, if there's no further discussion, I would be looking for a motion on this.
I'll make a motion based on the finance officer's review and recommendation. Adopt the resolution approving property tax abatements.
Second?
Motion's made and second, all in favor, say aye.
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 That motion passes. All right, moving on. Item 8, we have some finance officer items. First one is the general obligation abatement bond.
Oh, this guy again.
All right, now, this is to authorize Baker Tilly to negotiate and sell our bonds for, as Doug said, the 2020 street improvement project, Peterson Road, and Otter Ridge
Otter Ridge, yeah.
Road. The water fund improvements of about $500,000.
Which is well 4.
Yeah, well 4 and the treatment plant, and I think there's something else in there, and I never remember what it is. And then the park improvements, which we just were discussing. And with that, I don't know if Doug wants to say anything more on.
But this This is just authorizing the sale. It's setting the date and time of the sale. It doesn't, if something happens between now and sale date, it's not like the town has to go through with it. We can, delay the sale. I doubt that. We're far enough away from the election where I think things will stay pretty much the same between now and September 21st, at 10:30 a.m. But if something did happen, we can always pull it.
I'm curious as to why it says approximately.
Right, because what's going to happen is we're going to go out for bids, and when was the last time you issued bonds?
Last year.
Oh, was it? Well, what you probably would find was you go out and we're offering $5.9 million of bonds, and we give underwriters some flexibility in how they bid the bonds. We tell them that we need $5,768,000 for project cost. We tell them that's what they need. We give them some flexibility. We put in an amount. We give them an amount for cost of issuance, and we give them a range for what they can pay themselves in their fee. But the other variable with that is they'll bid a premium. So they'll buy bonds for greater than 100%. So they won't buy them at par. They'll buy them, each one of those bonds at like 102, 103, 104%. And so if we need $100, they'll give us 103 in exchange for higher interest rates. If you do that comparison, that simple math comparison between either, the town comes out the same, but, so they're giving us money, we use that money, more money than we're asking for. We use that money to reduce the par amount of the bonds, but in exchange, we pay higher coupon rates.
We would still receive what we were looking for, not the additional amount.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. You just reduce the amount that you need to borrow.
And we did that last year with the bond issue that we did last year for the road improvements. They gave us a premium, we just lowered the principal amount of the bonds. We still receive the same amount of money. We just pay interest on a lower par amount.
And that's also why it says negotiating. We're selling these bonds competitively. They bid a premium, but we know that you all want to repay them in a certain way. So we, in the hour after the sale, we work with that underwriter to move some bonds around to meet your needs and to, meet their needs. So that's what the only negotiating that's going on.
Well, this may be another first, Tom, 5.9 million. I don't ever remember seeing those.
In 2011, we issued new bonds, we refinanced some bonds, and then we also issued a tax increment bond. But I want to say that only came up to about maybe 2 in total.
Shazam, Mr. Chair.
So, yeah, I think we're...
See why he always closes the door when I start walking towards his office?
So, yeah, I think we're setting a record as far as dollar amount.
Well, this is just a sign of the times. We've got a lot of roads that this isn't gonna go away in the near future. We've already looked at our road improvement schedule, and it's out there, so this is, I hate to say it's not gonna be the norm, but it's gonna be up there.
Yeah.
All right, Scott, you have any other questions, comments? Steve? All right, hearing none, I guess I'm looking for a motion to approve.
All right. Based on the finance officer review and recommendation, adopt the resolution providing for the competitive negotiated sale of approximately $5.9 million general obligation abatement, improvement, and utility bonds, Series 2020A.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, we're officially in debt.
Or even more.
More.
All right, thanks, Doug.
Thanks, Doug. Have a good
Yeah,
night.
thank you.
All right, moving on. Public Works items. B is the Stillwater Street sanitary sewer pipe repair.
Please don't ask me
Patrick, are
any
you a,
questions.
So I had a bunch of questions
Are
I
you a
wanted to
public
ask
widow?
about this.
Now, Dale told me,
Yeah.
these should all be very straightforward.
well, I have to admit on this one, it's amazing how the bids can be that far apart.
Yes, and Dale's told me that it was because the the best bid is someone, or is a business that they've done a lot of business with and they're familiar with how to work within the township, and that's probably reflected in how the bid came in with such a differential.
My understanding is that what is going to be replaced is this piece of, this section that apparently is worn out over time. Are they going to replace it with the same thing, or with something that's going to hold up a little better?
I think it's going to be something that holds up a little bit better.
You know, I'm just curious, this part of Stillwater was not done, right, when this county did their road project? This is right at Centerville Road.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Well,
in the
not
corner.
Centerville.
No, Otter Lake Road.
Otter Lake
Otter
Road,
Lake.
I meant Otter Lake Road, yeah. That's, I mean, they've been working on that for quite a while, to keeping it, I was just trying to make sure I had it in the right spot, but.
Well, I'm curious because when they pulled that fire hydrant out of there, I thought they had fixed everything they needed to then. Now they're back in there again.
Dale, can we ask to, what did they do? Why wouldn't they have fixed it at that point?
That's a solid question.
Guess you're not gonna give us a solid answer.
I don't know the answer to that one. I guess I would ask that too.
Obviously, it's a county road, but it's our
Yeah.
pipes, so.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I don't.
Any idea how long it's going to take?
I can tell you it can be done this season.
Okay.
There you go.
You mean this fall?
Yes.
Because the season's almost
I
over.
know, this fall.
Did Dale have, I guess maybe I didn't see it, but did Dale have a number in mind? How did this bid come in at what Dale was thinking it should have cost? He usually has either that or the engineer has somewhat of an estimate on this.
Oh, he did, I thought I saw
I guess I
that
didn't.
he did.
I don't remember seeing it, but.
All he says is staff is confident that the quote is covering the scope of the work needed.
Yeah, maybe I was looking at the other stuff that's on the agenda here. Yeah.
Well, we obviously didn't have it in the budget.
He might, well, he had just a blanket amount in the CIP for drainage improvements. And so I'm assuming this is falling under that. Although he says he's taking it from the sanitary sewer fund, but, oh, wait a minute, that's the,
The next one.
I think you're looking at what I was looking at.
no, I'm looking at the Stillwater.
Yeah, sanitary sewer fund.
Oh, yeah, it's sanitary sewer pipe repair, so yeah,
Pipe
it would
repair.
come out of the sanitary sewer fund.
Thus, the timeliness of our discussion last week.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions to Dale?
Thank you for such an
Dale, too.
informative update.
I hate when this
I know
happens.
Bill Short used to hate that. Don't ask me any.
Could get him on the phone.
I'm not gonna get there quite yet.
All right, hearing no other further discussion, it looks like we want two motions here, one to receive
Yes.
and one to approve.
Based on Public Works Director review and recommendation, you make a motion to receive the quotes.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed.
And based on Public Works Director review and recommendation, motion to approve quote from Dave Perkins Contracting in the amount of $16,805 to perform the Stillwater Street sanitary sewer repair with funding from the Sanitary Sewer Operating Fund.
Have a second?
That.
Motion's made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. All right, the next one is the 2020 sanitary sewer cleaning and televise. Dale?
Can I go to the restroom
Place
now?
Dale?
So we have completed the televising and sealing of all the clay pipe in the township, according to his memo. That sounds good.
Way to go, Dale.
So here's a question for my education. We have vitrified clay pipe, we have PVC. Do we have anything else?
I don't think we have any cast. Well, maybe. I can't say
Those are
that.
the only two that he's ever mentioned to me. I don't think we, unless, if we do, I don't know about it. It has been mentioned to me. But that's, when he starts talking about this stuff, I catch that and then the rest of it goes right over my head. But
Well, this is a part of the town that, the northeast quadrant, we've, did we just have a water main break up there?
yeah, you did.
Hugo, that's off of Hugo.
Hugo.
Yeah.
Is that what you just said?
Yes,
Yeah, Hugo.
where they're very.
But this is not going to help that.
No,
That's
different
Well,
issue.
It may reveal some issues that could be resolved before they break.
Broke one or twice in 24 hours, I
Yeah.
believe.
I mean, that's water and this is sewer, but still, when you have those ruptures,
Yep.
Well, if you have those ruptures and they're running into the sanitary sewer, that's not
Then it
good.
becomes a problem.
Yes.
all right, any other questions or comments? It looks like, again, we need two separate motions.
Yes, sir.
Based on Public Works Director review and recommendation, move to receive the quotes.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries.
And based on Public Works Director review and recommendation, move to approve quotes from Ritter and Ritter Sewer Service, Inc. in the amount of $24,331.80 to perform the 2020 sanitary sewer cleaning and televising with funding from the Sanitary Sewer Fund.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? That motion carries. Moving on, item D is the Polar Lakes Park restroom. Again, receive the bids, and obviously, we're gonna send this back to the park board.
Yes, we need to motion it back to the park board for their review and recommendation. I just wanted to let the board know that we did receive bids that were approximately $60,000 under what we had estimated. There was a discussion about the uniqueness of the bid process. Chad, do you want to review that with the guys here real quick?
Yes, if you remember, you actually had two separate plans that were being bid on. One was a modular building, the other was a prefab, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
Building. So the bids went out as alternatives, the modular alternative and the prefab alternative. And the bids came in accordingly based, and they each bid on which alternative they wished to bid on. So it was all properly notified in the bid, what was going on, what they were bidding on. So I don't see any issue with that. But that's why it's a little unique, because there were two different alternatives that were being bid on. And it's up to the board now to pick which alternative they want to choose.
So we'll go back to the park board
Yeah, I
for
was
their
gonna say,
input.
after the park board
Yep.
Yes.
recommends.
Yep.
Right, exactly.
So we're just asking for you to receive the bids as they were submitted and then put back to the park board for their input and recommendation.
I'll move to receive the bids and refer it back to the park board for review and recommendation to the board.
I'll second that.
Motion's made second, all in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, all opposed? I know we've looked at them a number of times, so. All right, moving on. Item E, it's the 2020 improvement project. First one is Peterson Road.
Just looking for approval of the plans and specs and also the advertisement for bids before we go through with the project on this one. Not a lot of input from Larry on this one, pretty straightforward. He did want the board to note that under the, well, you know what? The only caveat he put was under the Outer Ridge one, so let's wait till we get to that one before I mention that. So we gotta do each of these at a time.
There is I want to change something on the plans. When would I do that?
Yeah, I have a question on it too.
Now, right now, you're approving plans and specifications. So if you're
Because
gonna change those plans, you better do them now.
Because of where they have me set up for
Uh-oh.
a water, the curb stop, the water curb stop, it's got it on the wrong side of the driveway.
Oh.
Well, I don't know if that's a major thing, and it can just be done at the time, but I want to make note of it so it doesn't get, I'm not there and it gets put in the wrong spot.
The question then becomes, does it increase the cost?
Do you want me to call Larry? He's waiting.
Yeah,
If it doesn't change the cost,
I
that's
don't know why
not.
it would, it's just a matter of moving it
From
20
one street
feet.
to the- Yeah, to the other.
Right.
It's still a curb stop, it's still the same distance, it's just
No, no.
location off the pipe.
And Mr. Chair, I agree with you, I don't see why it would, but
I know.
better make sure.
At the same
Larry's
time,
Pat.
is the sidewalk back in or
Hey,
back out?
engineering question
Oh.
from the board. We don't have any visitors, but the board does have some questions that they can ask. Can I put you on speakerphone real quick? Okay, hold on. He's been following online.
How current is that?
Barry? Larry, are you there?
You can hear me.
Yeah, we hear you. Ed has a question regarding the plans and specs specific to his property.
Yeah, Larry, I noticed the curb stop for the water is on the north side of my driveway, and I want it to be on the south side of my driveway. Is that something you need to change before you put this out for bid?
That doesn't materially change the bid,
Okay?
but we can make that change before it goes out to bid.
Well, I just want to make sure it doesn't get forgotten, and then I'm not there and it gets put in the wrong spot.
Sure. So you would like to see it on,
South side of the driveway.
south side of the drive, yep.
Steve?
Okay.
No, I just asked if, because of past conversations about the sidewalk in or out, these plans and specs are without a sidewalk, correct?
Is that right, Larry?
These plans are without the sidewalk. It's a 32-foot wide street, as we discussed when it was approved to design the plan.
Got her. Okay, he's nodding approval.
Yes.
I want to maybe mention that we were able, while I'm on the phone, I might as well walk you through a little bit of the design for Peterson Road. As we had originally planned, the road kind of flows towards the north. We do have a low point coming right off of H2. We wanted to bring the roadway down to try to alleviate some of the driveway concerns on the west side, for properties on the west side. But we didn't want to make the hill too steep on the east side. But we were able to do that without adding retaining wall. So we think we have a design that balances both sides with hill coming down from east to west. As we kind of talked about, the drainage catch basins are added for the project, and they flow into a stormwater pond on the north end. Sewer and water, whereas we discussed, the water main loops makes several connections to loop our system. And the sanitary sewer is designed along that property line, along Ed's property line, and also up near the intersection of Mohegan to serve the properties on the east side of Peterson Road. So that's just a quick synopsis of the plan.
Larry, that brings up
While I was
another
on the phone.
point. I noticed now on this plan, I now have 2 manhole covers on my property. Is that because of the length of that sewer run?
Let me just get to that sheet.
You can hear him okay, Larry?
Yes, we have about 446 feet of length through that area to serve everyone. And the maximum spacing for manholes, sanitary sewer manholes, is 400 feet.
Oh.
So we exceeded the spacing, so another manhole, there's not just one at the end, there's one kind of in the middle there.
My wife is not happy about that.
His wife's not happy about that, Larry.
Well, we have some flexibility on where we locate that. It doesn't have to be where it's shown on the plan. It can go to the east a bit, or I'm sorry, to the north a bit, or to the south. We can work with you on that location.
All right, is that something that can be decided later?
Yes.
All right.
That won't materially affect costs.
No, we still need the manhole. It's just a matter of where it's placed.
And is that approximately 5 feet off the property line then? Because am I giving up a 10-foot easement through that whole section?
That easement is roughly 20 feet, I believe, and it's 10 feet off the line.
Well, wait, 10 feet off my line and 10 feet off the neighbors, or all 20 feet on my side?
Well, it depends. It kind of adjusts as it heads south. So near the connection, it's closer to the neighbors to the east.
All right, I'll call you and go over that.
But there's still no harm in approving plans and specs
No.
tonight? Okay. All right. Hold on a sec, Larry, we might have questions for the next one at Otter Ridge, so hold on a sec.
Sure.
All right, any other questions on this one?
No.
No.
All right, hearing none, looks like we have 4?
No, two for
Two
this
for
and
this
two
and-
for the
Oh,
next.
yeah, 2, sorry. I actually can't vote on this,
No.
so.
Based on the town engineer review and recommendation, I'll move to adopt the resolution approving plans and specifications for improvement 2020-4.
I will second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
Abstain?
will abstain.
Okay. Based on the town engineer review and recommendation, I'll adopt a resolution ordering advertisement for bids for improvement 2024-4.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Abstain?
Aye.
Motion passes for both.
Okay, pass them both, Larry. Gentlemen, if you would like to move on to Otter Ridge. Larry, could you talk to the board a little bit about the timing with Otter Ridge as, with respects to the Peterson Road project too?
Yes, I think I could mention that the Otter Ridge Circle improvement and the Peterson Road improvements, we're looking to package that into one bid package for bidding purposes. And I could talk about timing for kind of both of the projects. So we are hoping with kind of a late bid here to get the utility work completed for the Peterson Road project this year, and looking to complete the roadway improvements next spring, summer. And as it relates to Otter Ridge, we see this as a small enough project that they could get this work done yet this year. We could in the specs stipulate that it must be completed this fall, or we could have more flexibility that it could be done next spring, summer as well. And this project is a reclamation project. Reclaiming is grinding the pavement and mixing it with the base underneath, and then any excess material is used for subgrade correction, or there may be some areas that as we roll test that deflect, that we need to dig out, and we reuse that extra material in those areas. But then we bring it to the right grade and repave. There would be some spot curb and gutter replacement with this project if there's damage or settled curb.
So Larry,
So again, we have the critical sheets are for both projects are in your packet. There's one, the critical sheet for Otter Ridge is in your packet as well. It describes the project. And I can take your questions.
the question I had, Larry, this is Steve. If you would want the project for this Otter Ridge project done this year, I guess I'm interested in the pricing differential. Will it, if we lump it in with next year, will we get a better price? Or we don't know that?
Anytime you give a contractor flexibility like that, it can result in a better price, but I can't give you a dollar figure as to what that would be.
Sure.
For some contractors, this might fit very nicely into their schedule for this year. They can jump on it and finish it. For other contractors that don't have that flexibility or that availability, they may choose not to bid, or they put a higher price to it because it's hard for them to fit in this year yet.
We have the right, as we do on all these, to reject the bids anyway, correct? I mean, if they came in at a premium this year versus maybe next year as a lump, we can reject it and wait. Is that correct?
You have the ability, if we get bids back and that you're not satisfied with those bids, to reject all bids, yes.
Okay, I'm done.
All right, Scott, anything else? All right, thanks, Larry. Hearing no further discussion,
I'll move based on the town engineer review and recommendation, adopt a resolution approving plans and specifications for improvement 2020-5.
Second.
motion made second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries.
Make a second motion to adopt the resolution ordering advertisement for bids for improvement 2025-5.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries.
Thanks, gentlemen.
All right, Larry checked out.
Nope, he's still here.
We still need him for Libel Street?
And Columbia Park, might as well keep him on
Okay.
board for engineering questions.
All right, moving on, item F is Columbia parking lot. Dale?
Larry, I know Jim's kind of been carrying this project, but do you want to give a brief background on it, or are you not comfortable with that?
Yes, I can do that.
See?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and board members. The Columbia Park, located up at 96, we're looking at changing the configuration of that parking lot and adding space. So the current parking lot has 30 spaces, and with the proposed improvements, it brings it to 62 parking spaces, which include 3 handicap spots. It also adds a stormwater treatment basin that would be used to treat the stormwater before it discharges into the Highway 96 stormwater system. So we've been working with Velamo on the project, and I can walk you through the plan. So in your packet, you will see several drawings. The first drawing is of the existing configuration of the parking lot and the removals for the parking lot. The second is kind of the new configuration of the parking lot. It's not very exciting. It's kind of a square parking lot, but it's very efficient in achieving lots of spaces. And you see on the north end is the stormwater basin that would be constructed with the project. The third is a grading plan showing kind of the grades and the drainage for the parking lot. So it's kind of a walkthrough of the parking lot improvement on Columbia Park. The total cost of the project, our estimate right now, is just a little bit over $180,000 for the project.
Larry, how
With
deep,
that, I can answer your.
Larry, how deep is that pond?
How deep is the pond, Larry?
The pond will be a dry pond, but it's roughly 5 feet, 6 feet deep.
And then Larry, what, is that a handicap sidewalk? Or what is that? Coming off the handicap ramp there?
Anytime you're getting a handicap adding handicap stalls. The ramp coming off those stalls onto the trail need to meet the MnDOT's compliance, the ADA requirements, the Americans with Disabilities Act. And so, yes, that's a ramp that meets the current standards.
Is that ramp
We
asphalt?
tie into the trail.
Say that again?
Is that ramp asphalt?
Is the ramp asphalt, Larry?
The ramp would be concrete, and then it would tie into the asphalt trail.
Okay.
I was asked, Larry, by some residents near there, there's going to be no changes to the landscape as far as those big pine trees go. They're staying right where they are. We're not taking any of those out, correct?
Correct. You can see the grading limits on the third sheet, and we're tying kind of right into them. We're going to be doing our best to avoid damaging the roots, but they're planned to stay.
Okay.
All right. Scott, got any questions?
Nope.
Steve?
No, I'm done.
All right, well, I actually did go out with Dale last year and looked at this parking lot, and this is kind of high on our priority list. It definitely needs the extra space because of the use that park's getting, and it was not very efficient the way it was set up, so this is a good move for the township, for that park. All right, hearing no other discussion, we need two separate motions here.
I'll move based on the town engineer review and recommendation, approve the plans and specifications.
Second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. Second one?
I'll move to order the advertisement for bids for Columbia Park.
Second that.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, all opposed? And then, I suppose, do you have a date for a bid opening or not?
What's the date on the bid opening, Larry?
I don't have that in front of me. I'm not quite sure.
We'll find
All
out.
right, well, it's obviously this year still, if we can get it done, so. All right, moving on. The Libel Street Stormwater Improvement Project.
Mr. Engineer?
Thank you. The township maintenance staff review the storm sewer system as a whole and have created a list that prioritizes, based on inspections, future maintenance repairs of our stormwater system. On that list is roughly 70 projects or items that could be repaired in the township. And they range in price from $500 to $100,000. In this case, the Libel Street improvements are on the top of their list to repair. There's drainage issues related to the storm sewer system on Libel Street, south of Libel Street, near Highway 61. So in this case, this project is roughly $75,000 estimated cost to complete, and it includes removal of failed storm sewer manholes, pipe, and regrading some of the drainage in a ditch section along Libel Street, and repairing a number of crossings as well. In your packet, there's also another drawing for you for Libel Street. It shows some of the existing work, or the work that's planned for the site, including the ditch drainage, removal of pipes, and kind of restoring that drainage along Libel Street near Highway 61. Again, the price for this is roughly $75,000, and we're looking to accept the plans and proceed with bidding. So we're looking for authorization to accept the plans and authorization for TKDA to obtain a Rice Creek Watershed District permit, define driveway culvert impacts, and continue the bidding process for a total not to exceed $2,700 for that bidding and permitting process.
Larry, the water flow on this goes to the west towards Bald Eagle Lake, correct?
It heads to, yes, I'm sorry, it heads to the west, crosses under Highway 61, and then drains to the south towards Bald Eagle.
Does it cross right at Libel there? Where's the culvert?
Yes, it crosses right there at Libel and Highway 61.
Okay. All right, any questions of the board?
So this work is all considered township maintenance? Is that, there's no opportunity for grant funding for any changes, upgrades?
County, somebody?
That's a good question. Let me, can we, if you guys choose to pass this, can we do that with a caveat, wait for review from town staff regarding grant funding?
Well, would this, a grant through Rice Creek Watershed or
Could be,
Met Council?
Sure. Either or.
either or.
Yep.
And it's ultimate drainage to the lake, so
Yep.
maybe there's some,
That's a good point. Staff will investigate that.
All right, Scott, got anything?
No.
Good point, Steve. All right, again, we need two motions on this item.
Based on town engineer review and recommendation, I move to approve the plans and specifications.
I'll second that.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries.
And based on town engineer review and recommendation, authorize TKDA to obtain the Rice Creek Watershed District permit.
Have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion carries.
Thanks, Larry. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the meeting.
Thanks. Talk to you later.
All right, our last item is the CARES Act, the funding request.
Yeah, you know what? Let's hold that one off until our executive committee, because I think we'll have more information about the law enforcement and public safety portion of our CARE fund. And also we can get a better ballpark on what an HVAC system is going to cost.
So do I have a motion to table?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to table the CARES Act, item 8H on our agenda.
Second that.
Thank you.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Open time, we have an empty house. So, no added agenda items. I need a motion to receive agenda materials and supplements.
So moved?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, we are adjourned at 8:13.
Thanks, folks.